spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge, nieces, nephews all lean in. Breaking down fights, call him Stat Daddy Supreme. On Just a Tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged. From the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick. Hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls deep predictions, he be making those calls. Getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jabs to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Saturday. We don't usually do this on Saturday, but we're in Perth, Australia. The weigh-ins weren't until last night. I was out, so I wasn't able to put together a video for you guys, but we're going to do it today real quick. Greasy four-leg parlay for UFC 305, which is headlined by Israel Adesanya and DuPlessis. I got a good one put together for you guys here, so let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here and give you the first leg, which is going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Stewart Nicoll, the money line, which is coming in and getting a little bit cheaper here as we get closer to fight time at -205. Nicoll's the hometown fighter. He's a Perth guy. He's going to be fighting Aguilar, who weighed in heavy, 1.5 pounds heavy, and a long trip from Mexico to Perth. I mean, like, this is not exactly an easy place to get to. You're talking about 30 hours for a lot of different flights to get from the United States to Perth. So Aguilar is going to have his work cut out for him here. I think Aguilar is the better striker probably in this matchup. But if you watch Stewart Nicoll's fights, his fights don't take place at striking range at all. Guy's got very good wrestling. He's very persistent with it. He can chain takedown attempts together. When he gets fights to the ground, he does a very good job of mixing his wrestling with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to get into dominant positions. And once he does that, he will mix his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and his ground and pound to set up those submission attempts, to set up those passes, and to really dominate the ground exchanges here. We kind of saw Jesus lose a lot of those ground exchanges to Mateus Mendoza. Showed that the takedown defense isn't very good, especially against Tatsuro Taira. As soon as he was on his back, he had nothing for Taira there. And, you know, I think Nicoll's going to put him on his back quite often. We do have to worry about the guillotine choke of Jesus Aguilar. It's very good. He loves going to that choke over and over again, but it's predictable. So you know that Stewart's been working his guillotine defense, and I think he'll be able to stay safe from those techniques. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so he is going to know how to get out of those guillotines, hopefully, should he find himself in one. And I also worry about Stewart Nicoll, this being his UFC debut. There's going to be the potential for nerves. There's going to be the potential for an adrenaline dump. But as far as the skill for this fight, the fact that it's in Perth and that Aguilar has to make the very long trip to fight in front of a hostile crowd against a hometown favorite here and a very good prospect, I like Stewart Nicoll to get the job done. I like him to get it done inside the distance, frankly. And I think he's going to find a submission or a ground and pound finish at some point in this fight. But leg number one gets the Stewart Nicoll money line at -205 here on DraftKings Sportsbook. Leg number two is a violence prop that's pretty juiced here, but it is the under 1.5 rounds. Alex Reyes versus Tom Nolan. Nolan's a very aggressive fighter. He's going to get into the pocket and swing hammers. Alex Reyes is not particularly durable, and he's fought twice in the last 6.5 years. And he's been racked with injuries. They're flying him out to Perth to take an ass whooping so they could cut him. This is not a fight that's going to last very long. I'd be very surprised if it went over 7.5 minutes. But I think Nolan's going to get the job done here early. But if he doesn't, I do think that Alex Reyes is live to land a big shot because Nolan is there to be countered. He puts himself into the pocket and doesn't use his height and reach advantages very well. He's a high-pressure fighter. So I could see either one of these guys getting the job done early here. But Nolan is a guy who's been finishing his fights quickly as of recently. He's got a lot of power, a lot of size for the division. And Reyes is pretty much past it. I don't even know if he's a serious fighter anymore. So I'm looking for Nolan to get the job done quickly here in front of the home crowd. And I'm betting that minus 260 for the under 1.5 rounds for this fight, which brings our 2-leg parlay up to plus 106. Leg number 3 is my biggest bet of the week. It's going to be the under 1.5 rounds in the Jenkins versus Burns fight. I find this line to be very mispriced. Herbert Burns is really not a serious fighter anymore. He's been racked with injuries, and he's a quitter. So, and there's no conditioning either. So, we've seen 2 recent knee surgeries for him on his LCLs. We've seen him injure his own knees twice in UFC fights in the first round. He beat Evan Dunham and had to be carried out of the cage because he blew out his knee in that fight. He blew out his knee in the Algeo fight and wound up getting pounded out early in the second round there. Jack Jenkins has got some of the nastiest leg kicks that you're ever going to find. This dude has broken the lower leg of 3 of his prior opponents in his already young UFC and professional MMA career. So I like Jenkins to go out there, land some leg kicks, make this guy quit and quit early. But if he doesn't, Herbert Burns, always very dangerous early in fights. This guy can submit anybody quickly. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's very talented, very opportunistic with his submissions. So if he does give up a takedown, Herbert is actually going to be live to get a finish of his own in this fight. So I think this minus 120 for the under 7.5 minutes or the under 1.5 rounds is the best way to play this, because Jenkins round 1-2 is going to be even more expensive than that. And this also encompasses almost 100% of Herbert Burns' win condition as well in this fight. So I like the under 1.5 rounds. I've got a 3-unit bet on this at plus 105. It's moved a little bit away from there. It's a little bit more expensive, but this is almost close to evenly priced line here that's going to fatten up our parlay quite a bit. So when we throw that in there, now we're up to plus 277 on a 3-leg parlay. Leg number 4 is going to be, and I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but DraftKings has a profit boost, and this is one of my favorite bets of the week. The market has been seriously overpricing Mateus Gamrot recently. This guy is not somebody that is dominating minute-winning exchanges in his fights. He's wrestling. He's doing his best to avoid the striking exchanges in the fights, and he doesn't do a lot of damage on the ground. Dan Hooker is Australian. He is the taller fighter, the longer fighter, the better striker here, the guy who's been fighting at the UFC level for a longer period of time. And I think the crowd's going to be behind Hooker. And I think if this fight is judged damage versus control, I think Dan Hooker's probably going to win at least one of these rounds. I don't see Mateus Gamrot getting a finish here, and the bookies agree with that. They have his decision prop priced almost around minus 150. So for a guy who is sitting almost 80% implied to win the fight at above minus 300, they actually have his decision prop priced in at about 60% implied probability. So that is really telling you that they really do believe that he doesn't have a lot of finishing equity. Gamrot doesn't. So Dan Hooker, if he can keep this fight close, if he can win one of these rounds, if he can not get 10-8'd, he's going to cover this plus 3.5 points handicap. It's at plus 100. This fattens up our parlay and gives us a much better number here, which is going to be plus 655 on DraftKings Sportsbook. If you guys don't have the plus 3.5 points handicap, there are a couple other legs that I like. I like the under 4.5 rounds for the main event. I think somebody's going to get finished, one or the other, in this fight at minus 135. I also like the over 1.5 rounds in the Tafa versus Walker fight. Walter Walker really hasn't shown a lot of finishing potential yet in his UFC or professional MMA career. And I think that he's going to take down Junior Tafa and kind of lay on him for long periods of this fight. And he's so tall and he's so long that I think he's going to be able to stay safe while he's standing as well, stay at distance striking range and not get clipped. So I also like the over 1.5 rounds for Walter Walker and Junior Tafa. But this is the parlay that I have for you guys because this Dan Hooker plus 3.5 points handicap, that's my dog pick of the week. And I think that this really is a safe bet at plus 100. So we got 655 on DraftKings Sportsbook. There's also a opt-in for a UFC 305 parlay boost, so we can get a better price even than plus 655 if we do this on DraftKings Sportsbook. So real quick, Stewart Nicoll money line, leg number 1. Leg number 2 is the under 1.5 rounds, Nolan versus Reyes at minus 260. The leg number 3, the under 1.5 rounds in the Jenkins versus Burns fight at minus 120. And leg number 4, the Dan Hooker plus 3.5 points handicap at plus 100. That comes out to plus 655 on DraftKings Sportsbook before the UFC 305 profit boost. Stylistically, I love all of these legs. And the prices aren't bad this week. So I think we're getting a nice number here at 655 for a 4-leg parlay. And I think we got a really good chance at cashing this one. What about you guys? What do you think here? Let's see what's going on in the chat. We got Broke DGen in the room saying, I guess I didn't realize Weezy didn't do this last night. Yes, I did not. I was over at a friend's place. We were hanging out. We were talking some football, actually. And I brought my equipment over there to actually do the recording over there. But I didn't feel like it. I was like, you know what? If we're not starting till later on tomorrow, I'll get this out tomorrow. And hopefully we cash this parlay this week. Good to see you hanging out in here, Broke DGen. We got Dean in the room saying, yo, Weezy, best of luck tonight. And keep of the Lord's work. You got it. Oi, he's saying, good to see you, Dean. Thank you for hanging out, man. We got Olajuwon Dream in the room saying, oi. Yes, we got Jacob in the room saying, Weezy, what's good, brother? Good to see you hanging out, Jacob. Thanks for being here. Broke DGen saying we're going to crush the world tonight. Let's do it. I got a decent amount of bets here. I might add just a little bit more depending on how I'm feeling, but I like this 4-leg parlay for a great start for today. David Nettles is saying, let's get this cash, Unc. I agree. We got 4-ounce Sniper in the room saying, oh, what is up, 4-ounce Sniper? We got Antonio Esparza saying hello to his favorite uncle. What's up, Antonio? We got Kristen in the room saying, happy pay-per-view day, Uncle Weezy in chat. Good to see you hanging out in here, Kristen. Let's crush these books today. Broke DGen saying, got to listen to the intro again on my 112 decibel stereo. This is sick. You're going to piss off your neighbors, but do it anyway, Broke DGen. Let's get it today. Intro's a banger, says Olajuwon. Appreciate you, man. JP Taylor in the room saying, best of luck. Ramblers and gamblers, let's get Greasy down under. Let's get it, JP. We got Jacob saying Charlie Campbell can hit a lot harder than Nolan. Oh, yeah, there's no question about that. But Nolan still is a very aggressive fighter, Jacob. So I do like his chances to get him out of there. This thing was at minus 350 earlier in the week, and I tended to agree with that price because they're, like I said, they're not flying this guy Reyes to go out there and win this fight all the way in Perth, Australia. And Tom Nolan, I think, is a guy that is going to be a finisher at this level because of how aggressive he is. So I do think that he's going to get the job done here in under 7.5 minutes. JP Taylor saying, hit that like button. We got BT saying, what up, Weezy? We got Zach Johnson saying, what up, Unc? We got the backstage tattoo in the room saying, Izzy is a lock. We got Broke DGen saying, hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite parlay of the week is for this week and whether you think we're going to cash this one. Backstage tattoo saying Tai Tuivasa will win as well. That's a nice plus money number. So good luck to you if you got some money on that. And likes Urseg as well. I like Urseg too, dude. I love the size advantage that he has. I love the grappling that he has, the back takes, and the chin. The fact that he's very durable and can take more of a shot, in my opinion, than Kai Kara France, I think is going to work out really well for him here. Backstage saying love Hooker plus 3.5. I love that play too, man. I've got a 1-unit track bet on that, and I might add to it just a little bit. I feel it's the safest way to play Hooker this week. I love that money line, but he might get split decision loss here on the control time. I love the finish only prop, but the fight probably goes to decision. I love the decision prop at like almost plus 600, but at the same time, I mean, I think that plus 3.5 is just so much safer. Pickle Kush saying, let's get it, brother. What's up, Pickle Kush? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got Call Me Husker saying, I'm parlaying the inside the distance in the main and co-main for plus 1,100. That's a big number. Good luck to you. I think the inside the distance in the main event is something that I'm liking. And then the co-main, Urseg is a very durable guy, but I think he can get a finish. I totally expected for some reason. I heard people talking that this would be an early morning card or something. So yeah, it is an early morning card, but it's an early morning card in Perth. So of course here it's going to be much later. Like Perth is like, I think 11 or 12 hours, depending on where you are, Broke DJ. I think you're in the Midwest like me. You're going to be talking about 11 hours difference between here and Perth. So yeah, it's going to be early morning in Perth, but it's going to be, about a normal time card for us Americans. And then Call Me Husker saying I'm all in on inside the distance this week. That's a great number that I liked a lot. Plus 380, plus 390. I think that might be worth playing for small this week for sure. But Urseg is so much more durable than Kai Kara France that I like that play. Giga Chad saying Gyno is by no means a lock. He also slows down in the last 3 rounds, and he's bigger than he ever was now. Yeah, we're gonna see. That's an interesting fight. I've got no action on it. I'm really kind of agnostic on it. I'm picking DuPlessis to win. But I don't know, man. He needs to KO Drickus in round 1 or 2. I think I tend to agree with that. He's definitely got power early in fights. I favor O'Neal in this. I'm torn. I think Casey's pretty bad, but sometimes being so bad works. Yeah, dude, I think that Santos, that her striking is just being severely overrated. I mean, she fought 2 of the worst strikers in any division in this entire UFC with Stephanie Egger and Juliana Miller. And then she fights Agapova, and Agapova is just not the same anymore. I mean, clearly she's got other things going on in her life that's preventing her from fighting at a high level. So the fact that she knocked down Agapova, I don't know what that means. So I think that Casey in Australia, Santos being on only 2 weeks notice for this fight, I do like Casey O'Neal to win, and I've got a bet on her money line at plus 145. Yeah, I could see a split robbery, but that's the only other path, saying Giga Chad for, and he's talking about Adesanya there. Oh, you got 3 to 4 inch stucco from 1955. It's literally bulletproof, and my room is insulated very well, even though the rest of the house isn't, so they can't hear you. That's cool. We got the Hooker finish only plus 165. Dude, that's a really good number. And Hooker by split majority decision plus 1,400. Those are both very tempting numbers, JP Taylor. I agree. Broke Degen does a greasy parlay every week, and then he adds every other fight, and then take one off take. That's my kind of PR pay. Yeah, like you do all the fights, and you're gonna have like 3 or 4 underdogs in there. That makes sense, dude. But let's go through it real quick here, you guys. Leg 1, Stewart Nicoll money line. That's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Leg 2, Violence under 1.5 rounds in the Nolan Reyes fight. Leg 3, Violence under 1.5 rounds in the Jenkins Burns fight. Leg 4, the plus 3.5 points handicap at plus 100. That comes out to plus 655 on DraftKings Sportsbook before the UFC 305 profit boost. Thank you for watching, you guys. 66 of you live hanging out in here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your best parlay of the week is and whether you think this one is going to cash. Have a great time watching the fights, everybody. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 305. God bless each and every one of you. And I'll see you live tomorrow night on DFS by the Numbers YouTube channel for Stat Diggers, where we're going to break down the UFC Vegas 96 card that is coming up next week, headlined by Caio Bahaio and Jared Cannonier. We got, you're a West Coast, Northern California for life. Giants, Athletics, Niners, Raiders, Warriors. Beat LA, beat LA, beat LA. Reno for life, Nevada for life. The Raiders and Athletics will never be Las Vegas teams. Proud. Got it. Broke D-Gen is a Northern California guy. We got BT saying cheers, Unc. We got 4-ounce Sniper saying good luck, everybody. And we got Volcon, do you think Ramos and Izzy is a good 2-leg? I mean, I wouldn't parlay those guys because I think they're both kind of like coin flips this week. I think Ramos is about a coin flip and Izzy is about a coin flip. And you're saying, oh, yeah, I wouldn't parlay them. I think I would bet them each separately. If you think they're both going to win, that way, since you're getting almost plus money on Israel and you're getting plus money for sure on Ramos, if one of them cashes, you come out a little bit ahead. And my guy Colby Saul saying, oi, these bet tickets will be stacked like flapjacks. Let's get it, Colby. Let's get it this week, you guys. Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see you tomorrow for Stat Diggers. Take care, everybody.